It's Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Yesterday, this morning, I woke up and on this Me TV, I discovered this thing called Adam 12. Again, it was when artwork was tasteful at creators with sacred geometry and specified purpose. Um, I realized I was able to pause the TV, and on it is the sacred geometrics of my ancestry, it would appear, of when this area. I mean, it's saying California and it's saying, but it has my numbers in sacred metrics and geospatial. Again, and it looks like if we carry it forward, the main black and white protect and serve officer looks very much like Brady, just does. So for me, in looking for, officer, I still am in need of a ladder to climb or a hand to hold for rescue, because there's some distasteful something in this modern mess they call New York City that happened. And I still have the future. And he being the Adams 12 look-alike in 80 for Brady. I mean, like, it looks like it's a full circle. Um, there's a square, a diamond, a triangle, and a circle, and then a dot. So I'm the piece that has the future under the same archistructure of star system for which Brady was built upon in the calendar numbers. Anyhow, so here is this to protect and serve mention. It's a black and white police car. It has this seal for this United States of Americas where this was created under, and it says founded. There's the symbol, the Union symbol, and it says 1781. So it has two markings, and inside those brackets of one on this side, one on that side, I guess that's indicative of the future. The 7-8 is right in the middle. For when will the next child arrive. Also, it says here police, there's the 80, which now they've come up with this 80 for Brady just recently. And then there's the 8, and it's separated from the 7. So the 80 for Brady Club just came out with a very tasteful fan club version, along the same lines, if we're talking Looney Tunes and Warner Brothers, of the grandmother with Sylvester and Tweety Bird. The grandmother that protects the bird, Tweety, from Sylvester, the black and white cat. So again, I'm a Cattaruzza. I really don't know how that ties in with them showing Adam at 12 as a black and white. And so again, this was when television was tasteful, when Hollywood was beautiful. I mean, it was a treasure. It was national treasures. It was national storytelling, and it was archived. And it was, it had that. My grandmother, in her day, she was welfare, 10 kids, really struggling. My grandfather, having served this country, was having a real hard time. But that once a week to leave the house and to see the old westerns and to see like these beautiful, very tastefully done artwork, announcements or Nickelodeons or whatever. Um, it was the highlight of her life. It was really all she had, other than the children and the struggle. Um, but it was an outlet. It was something. Um, so there's that, for appreciation of what the ancestors did spend money on and how they were leaving, I guess, in a Hansel and Gretel type of a way. I've heard Game of Thrones refer to it more recently as stepping stones, but now it looks in New York City on the television when I turn it on daily, it no longer looks like tasteful 80 for Brady or tasteful Adam 12. It doesn't look like tasteful Highway Patrol. It doesn't even look like the changing taste of Dragnet. It now looks like tasteless and classless has made some Mercury speedy revolution. And now it's just you turn on the TV and the commercials and you're like, ugh, I don't even want to watch. It's like, ugh. I mean, it's not pleasant. It's not even like clean work. It's dirty. It's gross. Um so anyhow, so I'm gonna just make this reference for this Adam 12, which I haven't even seen a full episode. They don't normally play it, but it's on this Me TV. And then later on this day, they had um, now I've heard of Popeye. I've never heard of Sockeye. Sockeye. So I don't know what this is in reference to. Um, and so there's that. I'm going to follow that. Now, yesterday, when I was out, I heard Brady lost a game yesterday. Again, I whatever on that. But I yesterday was out on the ice with my son in New York City, Queens to be specific, unannounced until I got there. So there was no like, I didn't make pre announcements to anybody. And I'm skating with my son, and we were all, and my father was there, and all three of us stayed up. My son, again, it was like Bambi when Bambi's first born and he's having a whatever to stand up. But then we went through it to pull it together, pull the core together, think like, you want muscle control, you don't want to be spastic, that kind of thing. And we went through the ice and the first time on the ice, um, mechanics. And then my son and my father sat down and they let me go by myself around because I wasn't finished, but they had their whichever. Um, and so I was just doing my thing, just keeping to myself. And then on my last revolution around um, the ice skating rink, something happened behind me. I couldn't see it. I didn't see it coming. I can't see it, what exactly took place, but it knocked my feet out from underneath me. And I went backwards and caught myself on this part of my hand, on both hands, which are now black and blue. I don't think my metacarpals are broken. I don't think I have a hairline fracture. I don't think I need x-rays or casts. So I didn't go to get it checked out. But I'm watching um, the whatever. Um, but then it wasn't like I just went down either because I got back up. I knew it wasn't me. I wasn't even, like, I wasn't unbalanced. I had my balance, which again, for body mechanics, I was checking myself, but I was sturdy enough after the runs I'd been doing to care for my son as he was learning to structure his balance on the ice. Um, so I had enough balance to hold myself and he as he was going through this learning of standing on the ice. Um, But then something came up behind me when I was by myself and just took me out. And then made sure to that I turned around and knew who it was. Um, it was incredibly busy yesterday. There was a lot of people that attended. It was called World Ice Arena. It was in Flushing Meadow Park. I had never been there. I didn't even know it existed. Um, but Lewis took me and my son there. So anyhow, so I'm gonna pull this piece up. Officers Reed and Malloy. 112 requesting code. Now, for me, this looks like ancestry of Brady. I mean, if you talk doppelgangers, and of course I know it's not him, but as far as the facial symmetry goes, it is a pretty close relative second. Code 7. Code 7. Let's take 7. I'll code 7 can only mean one thing. Can we go eat now? Whether it's breakfast, greatest pancake house in the whole world, lunch. I've been thinking of having my wife pack me a lunch. Or dinner. Don't you like Italian food? We could start out with a nice antipasto. There's always time for a 7 on Adam 12. Today at 5-4 Central. So there's that. There was something I made mention of yesterday, right before the pandemic. I was in the neighborhood, the time where I was spending a lot of time at Starbucks looking for work. And there was a set of characters that came up. Again, I didn't see the television version yet. I discovered that now. About this Sergeant Friday lookalike and Sergeant Gannon lookalike. Also, the Highway Patrol from 1966 lookalike. I'm kind of threading that together. But there was this arrival of several characters, one of them named Ophir and Ari at the same time. I took a ride in a BMW with the two of them, respectfully so. And they had a conversation with me that I needed multiple boyfriends. And I said, no, I am definitely like a one boyfriend kind of a girl. I was like, I really would like to have been Joe's girlfriend. I was like, but I don't, he said he just wanted to be friends. So I don't know how to like react to that. But I did say that because again, at Petticoat Junction, there's Cotton Eye Joe who doesn't cry. He likes his stuff to remain neat, tidy, and well respected. There's the Billy Joe, Bobby Joe, Betty Joe, and they all end in Joe. And now, if I don't know what that's to, but there's a President Joe at the moment, and I still want to be the respectable daughter if he is the respectable father of national things. And so, I explained to the two men there. So again, I'm Virgin Mary on this as far as my dignity remained intact. But I don't know what the locals are up to or trying to play out. I don't know how they characterize or caricature themselves in relation to like what I've been dragged into now. And so that happened. So I'm going to pause this for a minute and then I'm going to pull up that Tune In With Me, which takes place, Sockeye is in New York City, it says. So this Adams commercial is on the big high S10E8. So it goes from this ancestor photo to something called a patriot in modern day, which was featured on CBS Sunday mornings E3, which was on my son's birthday, which is January 15th. So there's E3. So it goes from this photo
with both feet.
Oh.
He pitched a movie about the Brady ladies, and guess who?
And then it goes to, with this word, Patriot. And again, a Petticoat Junction with Hootersville and the Hornet coach. It usually references this football looking. And then there's Betty Joe, who for some reason is treated a little differently than Billy Joe and Bobby Joe. Just like the apiary as opposed and topiary as opposed to the other women. And here's the
jumped in with both feet.
I want to make a movie based on your over 80 for.
So, hang on. Now, the courtship of Floyd Smoot, just so spatial geometry, astrophysics, everything lines up with Hootersville and the Hornets coach, and then this 80 for Brady and this Patriots movie that was just created. It's the courtship of Floyd Smoot is S1E5, for which the future arrived. That's my tie-in. That's my piecemeal. That's a MEAL that arrived for future in stardom and in, like, again, it's astroplaning. So I don't really, I'm just documenting from my own purpose and my son's purpose to protect the two of us, since I see it's written there. Also, there was this piece of the seal of the Treasury, which also has a 78 reference between the 1 and the 9. Again, I was born 1978, 19th century 78. They just came out with a double eagle, bullion, or mint, M-I-N-T of some sort. I see that the signs and the symbols of sacred geometry that's there, that this foundations of this country were built on, are there. And then my son is built into the paradigm and the metrics over here, the matrix over here. Several movies have been made about, they put out like little hints for the universe, I guess, at Universal City. What has been really foul, though, has been my care and keep, and that of the son that I brought in. And then they further divided the two of us from each other, and now has him being raised by strangers, which I don't even know if his care is to the level and standard of requirement. I know that mine has not been.
Well, I was just trying to help him end his broken heart.
I was just joking.
So there's the Hornet and the football and the Hooterville and the coach.
Vickery don't mean.
Who kind of looks a little like 1966 Highway Patrol, but like when he's not in his suit on patrol, when maybe he's at home in his private whatever.
That much to me.
By the way, where is Betty Joe?
How would I know?
Betty Joe!
You better let her do her homework. You know her grades aren't what they.
Did you talk her into it, Coach?
Talk her into what?
No, he didn't.
But, Mom, we just gotta win one game. And Uncle Joe says that with me as a scatback.
You scat back upstairs and take off that uniform.
Sorry, Coach. I was ready and willing.
No, I wasn't.
Nice pass, Mom.
Now, when I put on the Saturday morning cartoons that just passed, it had a Pink Panther on it, and it broke out of the back of the garage, it says, and then it went past a sign that said, "Eat at Joe's," and there's a police officer guarding the billboard. See, eat at Joe's, and then is that the AE? Is that cafe? And there's the police officer. So again, when I say, like, I don't know, but if I had to choose one boyfriend, it looks like Joe. And then there's like, again, how to say there's a papal state somewhere else that you really wouldn't use these common references to, but then there's that version of father that wants their daughter to be respected by the men that are running the world. So how does that level of message carefully get spoken of in kind of, sort of, but not really? Now here's some outlet they had this morning of this Sockeye, which again, if I break that down, it's SOC, and then it looks like key. Because it's SOC, and then if you break it, and then it says KEY, and then there's a space, and then an E. So
MeTV Network, seen locally on WJLP, Middletown, New Jersey. MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
On today's episode of Tune In With Me, Bugs grows up in Lower Manhattan. There's a mouse loose in Midtown.
And our own Sockeye is in New York City.
He's always quiet. For his succotash.
You're despicable.
It's Tune In With Me.
Hello, Tuners. I'm Bill, your cartoon curator, and there's my work best friend, Toonie the Tuna.
Hey, I'm your only best friend, but listen, whatever. You gotta help me put up these flyers, Bill. It's urgent.
Wait a minute. Sockeye is missing?
Yep.
Did you check under the bed?
Yes.
How about the sofa?
Yes.
The fridge?
Wait, why would a sock be in the fridge?
Because maybe he's hungry.
Listen, one minute we're hanging out, and the next he was gone. Yeah, I mean, sure, I may have said something totally rude to Sockeye. Oh, come on, I say rude things to everyone. It's kind of my shtick. But look.
and again, like, I said this to my children when they were here. I was like, they said something to me, and I just couldn't help myself. I mean, we were in front of the television. I know it's a two-way mirror. And I was like, there's a cleanup on aisle 7 going on in the supermarket. I was like, again, just saying. Like, when there's this classless, tasteless system going on in New York City, but yet there's class and classy things and groups and other theologies and management systems. I'm just a star in a galaxy and universe that at the moment is slightly broken and under some form of repair.
Listen, I think that Sockeye was taken.
Funny you say that, Toonie. I got a call from a New York number, but I didn't answer.
Because I had another conversation with my Janvier this morning, birthday of a Janvier, and I said to him, mon petit, I said, remember that Mercury rotates, or the revolutions of Mercury is at an 88 speed in solar system terms. That's much faster than the revolution of Earth. This seems to be a really important event and feature that you need to be aware of from now into your future. And he was like, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, I know that, but I'm hoping if I say it enough, you will remember that fact.
Because I don't like talking to people that I don't know. They either want money or conversation, and I've got neither. Speaking of New York, did you know that that's where Bugs Bunny was born? In this next cartoon, Bugs Bunny tells his origin story to a Hollywood reporter based on the famous gossip columnist Luella Parsons. Bugs talks about his time growing up there in the Lower East Side in this cartoon called A Hair Grows in Manhattan.
Now, I put on Facebook, the BBC came out with something about low-cut tops. And I'm like, right, so if the top of the class system is cut so low, it does look very, like, again, classless, I suppose. But then again, there's these messages, and then there's only so many features. And I find it interesting, again, sunning out on a deck and not knowing that the sky could be spying on you, and being a teenager and having access to carrots. Again, I don't want to get the wrong idea.
Oh, hey, Tuners. Toonie and I are searching for our missing friend, Sockeye Sam.
Bill, hold up. Look at this. It's a ransom note. It says, thanks for the advice, Toonie. I got out of your face, and I'm having the time of my life.
Toonie, that's not a ransom note. That's a postcard that Sockeye Sam sent to you from New York City.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's what they want you to think, Bill.
They? Who's they?
The Sockeye Steelers.
It also says...
Wow, wait! The views in New York City are cool. Lots of gray buildings. They remind me of my grandpa. He was a very long gray sock. I've never solo traveled before.
Not every day for a good time and a good vibe. It's a good sign that you would like. Check your good side, what it look like, does it look right? Cause if it doesn't, you must let it manifest, so you should have tried.
Made friends with a rat. He's gonna show me all the good spots here. Talk soon.
Wait, maybe the rat is the one who asked.
Toonie, you gotta let it go. Sockeye Sam is doing great, and I look forward to his next postcard. Meanwhile, here's our next cartoon. Also set in New York City. From director Chuck Jones, this is The Mouse on 57th Street. Thank you for returning, Tuners.
Bill, we got another ransom note from whoever has Sockeye Sam.
Not a ransom note, Toonie. Sockeye Sam isn't asking for money. It's just a postcard. So where is he now?
My new friend Rat, where his family lives, the financial district. Everyone walks really fast here. He says a lot of rats live here. Trash-hungry rats, money-hungry rats, elite rats. Figured it would be a good time to do a Sockeye on the market report. When on Wall Street, you know? A livestock report. 1 cow, 2 cows, 3 cows. Some financial advice from a cow who's twice removed cousins with Elsie the cow. Buy stocks in rat milk. It's big in Brooklyn right now. Gonna be bigger all around the country soon.
Bill, Sockeye is hanging out with the wrong crowd. That's terrible advice.
Yeah, it may be terrible advice, but it got him on the cover of a New York newspaper that I have a subscription to. And having a subscription makes you look intellectual, Toonie.
Oh, so Sockeye is just out in New York City being a New York influencer now?
Yeah, good for Sockeye. Here's a cartoon made in Manhattan by Max Fleischer, whose studio was located near Times Square during much of the 1930s. It's a Popeye cartoon with a gritty urban setting. This is The Painless Window Washer.
So it went from Sockeye, so SOC key, in E to this Bey for E? I don't know. Here's the next portion.
You're watching Tune In With Me's travel segment. We'll get to the cartoons in a moment, but first, here is the #1 place to eat in the restaurant market of the Big Apple. The Core, located in the deep center of Manhattan. Here at the Core, their most popular item is called the bowl of black seeds. That I discovered you can't eat because the amount of cyanide in them is very poisonous. Apparently, the hip thing about the Core restaurant is that you pay lots of money to only be able to eat little to no food here. 5 out of 5 stars. Delicious.
Wow. Sockeye has 1 million views on social media from that travel video? Ugh.
Are you regretting being rude to Sockeye now, Toonie?
I would like to keep the narrative that he's not doing well. He's been taken. That's my story. I'm sticking with it.
Well, I'm going to follow Sockeye, and you can too, by liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tune In With Me TV while we take this break.
Bill, you don't even follow me.
You're too toxic.
Oh. Coming up.
Welcome back, Tuners. I'm Bill, your cartoon curator, and this is my best pal, Toonie the Tuna.
Yeah, I received another ransom note about Sockeye, who seems to be taken in New York City.
Oh, Toonie, this is a promotional flyer for Sockey's off, a little on and then slightly off again Broadway show.
Yeah, right. As if Sockeye could ever be famous enough to get near Broadway.
You've seen cats, you've seen rats, but you've never seen a sock like me. I have gusto, I have brains. You've never seen a sock without stains.
Toonie, did Sockey's undeniable talent make you a little emotional?
I'm crying because
Because it was a great showing of talent?
that should have been me. Oh, that's it. I'm going to New York City to take what's mine. Recognition. And, to bring Sockeye back home. But not by apologizing to him for being rude, obviously.
Okay, Toonie, you have officially gone overboard with this whole Sockeye thing. Let's get to our next cartoon. This time it's the Pink Panther in the big city, and he's having some real problems crossing the street. This one was directed by Jerry Chinicki, a longtime animator for Friz Freeling. This is Think Before You Pink. Oh, hey, welcome back, tuners.
Sockeye, where are you? Sockeye, where are you?
Oh no, Toonie seems to be lost in New York looking for Sockeye.
Well. If it isn't the sock who stole my fame.
And if it isn't the big, meanie fish.
It's time to dance out our issues like in every notable Broadway musical.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, Toonie! This town is big enough for the two of us. We can be friends. This is a
Oh, now that was a New York experience. Here's our next cartoon with a New York theme, and this one is a takeoff on Duffy's Tavern, a famous 1940s radio sitcom set in a New York City bar. That sitcom was co-created by playwright Abe Burrows, whose son Jim Burrows would later co-create another legendary sitcom set in a bar years later, That was called Cheers. This is the last of the 12 cartoons featuring Sniffles the Mouse. From director Chuck Jones, this is Hush, My Mouse. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tuners.
Bill, would you like my autograph since Sockeye and I are famous Broadway stars now?
Oh, yeah, sure, Toonie. I'd also like to get the autographs from our fans because their artwork is simply amazing.
Now, in this area, they've just brought it to my attention through the NFL. I've never, like, again, I don't really know what a mafia is. I really don't know what a mob is. I don't really know what a gang is. I'm trying to, like, look for clues that these socialites agree upon and then put up there, like, to guide the patrol, perhaps. So in this theology or theoretic of this late New York City arrangement with I don't know what, the NFL was brave enough to put out there that they have these bills and they call themselves the Bills Mafia. Again, it's just what they make sounds and they have symbols. And like if it's contained inside this Rome-like theology or mythological whatever of like, so the Bills in New York have this like mafia thing that so this way there's some focus of it's scary, but it's also the names and players you love. I don't know how to logically handle that. I don't. Does that mean like those are safe words and safe codex, or is that like the really scary street thug level, or is that what they, again, the integration of this into like a reality. I just got tossed on the ice yesterday by some whatever that hit me from behind, and it's not the first time that something along those lines have happened to me while in New York City before YouTube or Facebook came along.
Like this one that came in from Mick Benton of Monton, Pennsylvania, who wrote, "My favorite movie is Ghostbusters, and I watch your show every morning, and it inspired me to combine the two, and this is the picture that I made. Look at this, Toonie."
Wow, this is awesome. Thanks so much for watching the show, buddy. And thanks for drawing this and sending it in. I would like to bust some ghosts, you know? That'd be pretty cool, I think.
It's like a giant version of you, Toonie, like that Stay Puft Marshmallow guy, and then the Ghostbusters are down here trying to do battle with you.
Oh, okay. I see that now. It would be really cool if we had a giant Toonie, you know?
That'd be fantastic.
Just walk down the streets and everyone could say, "Hey, Toonie, how we doing up there?" And I go,
I'm doing good. How you doing?
and they're like, "Hey, what do you think of the big game coming up?"
I'm like, oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought anything about it.
And then they'd say, "Hey, I gotta get to work. I'm running late." I say,
All right, buddy. You take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Wait, how would it go?
"Oh, it would go like this.
That's all right, Toonie.
Okay.
You can send us your questions, your jokes, your videos, or more at tuneinwithme.com. We love hearing from you.
Hey, we'll see you next time.
Hope your day is tuner.
Are you ready?
Now, there is something called a Quaker oat. Established in, again, it's got Brady and my numbers in there. It's 1877, so 77, but it also has the 7 and the 8 in there. So in like this geospatial whatever, they gave me one representative to reference as like a safety, and he just happens to be it for I hold the key to the future in the same like astrological plane for cosmology and astrology, which is a really real thing in astrophysics. So, and again, just so Quaker is whatever, this is what. we have in the closet, in the pantry, still supporters. And then there's, of course, can't have a week go by without where did it go? So I'm just saying, there's still support at home, and there's still availability of ways to support at home. And home having this symbol that they've referenced since I started school. At least the first time I saw that actually was in Long Island. When they allowed me to go to school out there. Now this morning, I haven't seen this commercial a lot. I think I caught it like once or twice. There's an NFL Quaker actual commercial. So here, by the way, personal like thought pattern is my 1940s show. When I asked her what I was laughing on the couch from that 70s show. And I'm just like, I thought it was very clever. Knowing that Cotton Eye Joe, who knows that his daughter needs help and wants her to be respected, is somewhere in the world. And then there's this like athletic arena of like, on the one hand, if they're the mafia, they need to be like really respected. But on the other hand, from like perhaps the echelon above them at oligarchs and really scary, like has tanks, drones, and whatever, and real equipment and purpose at keeping things going, they might look upon the sports figures as jesters of some sort. So like I'm always in that like really careful, like don't want to upset the wrong apple cart or level of hive management, knowing that again I'm apiary topiary and I'm in a really precarious position of I hold the future. I don't even have a ladder to climb or a hand to hold for rescue. I have a safety spot that I can see. But like, what happened?
Morning, I start with Quaker oatmeal.
If you want to be a champ, you gotta start like a champ.
Yes, coach.
And then I realized they're brainwashed that this is the acceptable way to speak to them. And if this represents anything born after 2000, that then puts in a really between candidates and like the actual masters. Now, how are they recruiting and training? Because now there's this level of disrespect and then they tune out. So like as mother of a nest, I'm like, oh boy. So I get that 40s show this morning, thought that this little girl was so irritating, just like naturally. I'm like, right, I get that from your seat. I would think the exact same thing if I was in the correct position. But for that 70s show at the moment, knowing I already gave birth to children in the year 2000 and after, in this, like, they broke the ladder and they disengaged the hands to hold. So now what do? I found it actually quite amusing.
Okay, pick up the face. Put your heart into it. You call yourself a Manning?
Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the NFL. Your record label is taking up.
But knowing that those are my champions, like they work for the dad that has no patience and only wants his daughters to be respected. And I'm like, yeah! I was like, all right, for the moment, since I have no access to anything, that totally made sense. Kind of, sort of, in a not really kind of a way. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.